Opening night at Clowes Hall is being brought to you by Radio Corporation of America and the 13,000 men and women employed by RCA in Indiana.
Good evening. I'm Howard Caldwell. 4.5 years ago, Clowes Hall was just an idea. Tonight, that idea has reached a momentous climax, attracting national attention in both theatrical and non-theatrical fields. Reflecting this interest are such people as Helen Hayes, Arthur Rubinstein, Agnes DeMille, Maurice Evans, all members of the Clowes Hall Performing Artists Committee. The hall is built in memory of Dr. George Henry Alexander Clowes, research director of Eli Lilly and Company for many years, who devoted his life to science and the arts. Clowes Hall represents the most advanced American and European thinking in design, comfort, and beauty.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jim Gerard from the west lobby of the first tier at Clowes Memorial Hall. Our camera is positioned on the first tier, and we are shooting down into the main lobby. And you can see the many, many first-nighters as they arrive, as they mill around the lobby in magnificent dress. So many people representing so many countries and states as they gather for the opening of Clowes Memorial Hall. There are many of them local that you can identify for yourself as you look around, and many other notables from New York, from Chicago, from San Francisco, and many parts of the world. Centered right in the middle and doing film is Lee Phillip of the Lee Phillip Show, seen Monday through Friday on WFBM TV6. There she is. And you see her talking to a youngster, probably one of the Clowes children, one of the Eisler Solomon children. I've been corrected, and they are chatting at the moment. Miss Phillip down from Chicago, and a little bit later on we hope that she will be able to come over to our television cameras and we'll get her impressions of just what she thinks about Indianapolis and, of course, Clowes Memorial Hall. And now let's just take a moment and meet some of the people that have come up to say hello, and I think right now we should say hello to a very, very pretty girl, a young lady who represents Miss Indiana, or represents Indiana because she is Miss Indiana, and she is Marcia Pinkstaff, Miss Marcia Pinkstaff, and a lovely young lady she is, and she's stepping in here. Miss Pinkstaff, you have a minute? Come on over and say hello. Isn't she a pretty girl? Hi, Miss Indiana.
Hello, Mr. Gerard.
Well, what do you think of all this, huh?
Oh, I think it's exciting. I think the building is beautiful, and the crowd just brings it to life.
Is it everything that you thought it would be?
I had no idea whatsoever what it would be like from the outside in the edifice. And I just think it's gorgeous.
Well, thank you very much for stopping by.
Very nice
and
to be here,
continued
Mr.
success.
Gerard.
Thank you. Mayor Albert Loshi.
Hello,
Mr. Mayor,
Jim.
good
How
evening.
are you?
Fine, thank you,
Nice
sir.
to see you this evening, sir.
This is quite a thing, isn't
This
it?
is just wonderful, Jim. It reminds me of 3 years ago when I was in Vienna, Austria, and went to the opening of the Grand Opera House there. Here in Indianapolis now, we can boast that we have something equal and perhaps better than they have in Vienna. And I'm so proud of the Clowes family and the Board of Trustees of Butler University and all those who participated to make this a place of memorial recognition in the fine arts, and it will make Indianapolis a better place in which to live. We have so many women here this evening who are all dressed up, and with their charm and an enchantment, they certainly add to the occasion, and it's really an exotic scene here. Just wonderful.
Mr. Mayor, I thank you very much. I know you're about to go in. Thank you so much for stopping by our WFBM cameras. Well, Pat Fontaine, how are you?
Nice to see you again.
Of course, everybody sees you on the Today Show every day.
I hope they're going to be watching Monday, but Jim, I wouldn't be anyplace else in the world.
Isn't this wonderful,
There
huh?
is an excitement here that won't quit. I was there when Lincoln Center opened up. This exceeds it.
Really? I was going to
does
ask you
indeed.
about that.
And even the pride. You know, it's a beautiful thing to see. And
Yeah.
all the chicly groomed women in the house. I feel like a slouch. But it is a wonderful place to be.
You think we can impress the New Yorkers a little, huh?
I think you can impress an entire nation. And this hall, you've got to sit in it and see it to believe it. It's beautiful.
Well, I know, Pat Fontaine, you're going to be on today, on Monday morning,
Right.
emanating right here from Indianapolis.
Bragging about the whole thing.
Pat Fontaine will look for you on
Jim,
TV6.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
The charming and lovely Pat Fontaine of the NBC Today Show. Professor Hayden.
Right, Mrs.
Good
Hayden.
evening.
How do
Good
you?
evening. This is a
Hello.
great pleasure for me.
Well, it is for us, of course.
It's
Yes.
going to be a big thrill for you to see your work
Well,
performed. Isn't that
certainly,
so?
yeah. It's a wonderful hall, and it sounds beautifully,
Well,
really.
of
here.
course, we know that you composed the dedicatory piece, which will be
Yes,
played for the
yes,
first time here
yeah.
tonight.
Very happy and very proud to have done so.
Professor Hayden, thank you very, very much. Thank you, Mrs. Hayden. And now let's take a look at the activity down in the lobby. The folks continue to come in from everywhere. Cars are lined up out front. And in just a moment, we're going to move into the auditorium proper and wait for the lighting of the grand drapery and the introduction of Morris Evans. We are waiting now for the lighting of the grand drapery at Clowes Memorial Hall. In just a few minutes, the house lights will dim, as they are right now, and the curtain will be opened for the first time. The grand drapery will be opened, at which time Morris Evans will be introduced. As you know, he is a member of the Honorary National Committee of Clowes Memorial Hall. You will recall that he appeared some years ago at the Old English Theater here in Indianapolis.
The internationally famous Shakespearean actor, member of Clowes Memorial Hall, Honorary National Committee, Mr. Maurice Evans.
Ladies and gentlemen, first let me say how very sorry I am that Helen Hayes could not be here tonight to greet you all and to hold my hand. But as usual, she's off on one of her errands of mercy and is out of the country. She sends you her love and wishes you well. The launching of ships is traditionally a feminine prerogative, but in the absence of Helen Hayes, that privilege falls for once to a mere male. The sight of a ship going down the ways is always a thrilling experience. But once she hits the water, there's a sense of detachment, as though she had acquired a life of her own. Tonight, as I throw the launching switch of the Clowes Memorial Hall, there'll be that same thrill of a fine dream come true. But unlike a seagoing craft, the good ship Clowes will remain solidly implanted on the firm dry land of Butler University campus and will remain there just as long as her captain and her crew provide satisfying entertainment and comfort for her passengers. It is fitting that amongst a sheaf of congratulatory telegrams, the first one should come from a landlocked sailor on temporary duty at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C. And it reads, the White House, Washington. The opening of Clowes Memorial Hall for the Performing Arts is of significance to the entire nation as a tangible symbol of increasing public interest in the arts. It is a splendid example of a center which will not only serve the needs of the university, but also the community. I'm glad to learn that it will be the home of the Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra. By providing facilities for professional performances of all types, it will broaden and enrich cultural opportunities in the Middle West. My heartiest congratulations and best wishes, signed John F. Kennedy. Equally satisfying is this salutation which has been received from a sister organization also tiptoeing her way into her baptismal waters, New York City's Lincoln Center for the Performing Arts. My associates at Lincoln Center for the Performing Arts join me in extending our best wishes to the leadership of Clowes Memorial Hall upon the occasion of its opening. It is a source of encouragement to all of us concerned with the cause of the arts to see the American community taking positive steps towards greater service to the arts and to the growing audience. We hope that the opening and the operation of Clowes Memorial Hall will attract the national attention it so richly deserves. We extend hearty congratulations to you and the other members of the Advisory Council for having brought this splendid project to the moment of reality. Signed, William Schumann, President, Lincoln Center for the Performing Arts. If I may add a personal note of gratification for the creation of this building, it is because I have had intimate acquaintance with its predecessors. In the course of years of touring in Shakespeare, I can remember no more mortifying experience than when in the old days on the stage of the English theatre, I was once forced to improvise in blank verse whilst awaiting the delayed entrance of another actor. The play was Richard II, and the entrance was through a door into the orchestra pit. Unfortunately, the dimensions of the door and the girth of the actor playing the Earl of Northumberland were not in accord, and his lordship remained firmly wedged in the aperture until he was dislodged by his retinue of soldiers. Such misadventures, I can assure you, can never happen in this magnificent building. Everything seems to have been thought of. Grand opera, drama, ballet, symphony orchestras, all can be comfortably accommodated here besides the convocations of Butler University. The appointments everywhere, backstage, on stage, and in this elegant auditorium are just superb. They cannot but serve with equal efficiency existing theatrical offerings, new cultural developments, and new works and new talent. Actually, I've only one worry, having had a quick look round backstage, and that is that the appointments are so luxurious, the dressing rooms are so splendid, that the management is going to have a hard time chasing the actors out of the theatre when the curtain comes down. One thing I am absolutely certain, and that is that Dr. Clowes, in whose memory this hall is given, would have rejoiced in this achievement. I like to think that he might have approved of the idea of a member of the performing arts being given the honor of dedicating this hall. For I think he would have liked me to point out that it is what goes on in this hall that will count in the end, and not the building itself. And what goes on in this hall, ladies and gentlemen, depends very much upon yourselves. Please come again, please come often. And so, confident in its brilliant future, it now becomes my solemn privilege, on behalf of the family that bears its name, to give this hall to the people of Indianapolis, to Butler University, to the people of the state of Indiana, and to people everywhere who find excitement and inspiration in the old theatrical command, curtain up, lights.
It was only fitting and proper that the very first musical sounds emanating from Clowes Memorial Hall for live performance were those of the national anthem. We are waiting now for the salute to Clowes Memorial Hall by Professor Bernhard Haydn.